Welcome back, friends. I'm Juniper, and today we're taking a look at the previews for RimWorld Biotech. The RimWorld Biotech expansion and update 1.4 to RimWorld has been announced, and it is set to release on Friday the 21st. Today's the 18th. The fourth Biotech preview just launched, and I'm going to go ahead and walk through all of this together with you guys. And I don't know that much about this. I've intentionally kind of kept myself out of the know so that I could go ahead and go through what Tynan has decided to give us as far as information goes and talk through it and see what I think, and then see just how wrong I'll end up being when the actual expansion comes on out. So I'm going to get started here. The first post here is about biotech, and then I think they also talk about a handful of other things. So starting up at the top, they're adding children and reproduction to the game. So this is a little bit, this will be interesting. I'm really kind of nervous about what this will mean for the game, because I think it's a great idea. I think it'll add to the story aspect of the game for sure, but I'm nervous because this may definitely impact how gameplay goes, especially from a high skill, or not a high skill, a high challenge, a high threat level perspective. So if you're going to play the game on 500%, or losing is fun, this could definitely come into play. So let's see here. Biotech is focused around three major features: controlling mechanoids, which sounds interesting, raising babies and children, and genetically modified children and adults, and then gene-modded factions. Alright, so first of all, this means we're getting more factions added to the game. They do say factions plural here, so that'll be interesting. Of these three major sections, it's the babies and children aspect that I'm most nervous about. I think that controlling mechanoids will be pretty fine. I think it'll be hard to do. I think it'll be a later game thing. Babies and children will, the problem with that is that it's going to become forced upon your colony, you know, unless you don't allow your colonists to sleep together until they're married, for example, or ever. In theory, you could prevent babies and children, I think, although they may have changed it, I don't know. Genetically modified stuff, this sounds interesting, and I don't know, this section is where the weird stuff is going to come up, where the game is going to be played differently. These other two things, you know, are going to impact the game, but this is where the game is really going to change. All right. Children reproduction. You can raise a family and tell your story for generations. Blah, blah, blah. Babies bring joy, but also challenges. So there'll be mood buffs involved with babies, but there'll be a lot of work. And one line in here is that a cozy pastel nursery where there is always warm milk. This means I'm going to have cows. Like, cows are good, but I don't really like cows. They're fine. It's fine. It's not the end of the world. So they grow up fast. That's good. Probably if they really made it take 12 in-game years or whatever for a character to grow up, that would be a long time in game. They soak up knowledge in the classroom, entertain themselves. It sounds like the way their development goes, it influences how they turn out, like their backstory, you know? We're writing, all of this is, you're writing your colonist backstories for your kids. So this will be interesting, and this is where I'm nervous. The Mechanitor is going to be a cool new role, kind of like the priest role is in Ideology, but this one has a specific purpose. I wonder if they're going to give them expectations increase like they do for the priest in Ideology. I hope not, because that's annoying. But basically, yeah, the Mechanitor creates mechanoids by growing them in gestator tents, which is what this looks like. Can I open this picture? Oh, nice. So these are the tanks where the Mechanitor is growing the mechs. Cool. What does this picture show us? Yeah, these are centipedes, and these must be new mech types here doing some sort of ceremony, maybe? I don't know. What is this thing over here? So many questions. All right, so yeah, Mechanoid Laborers can manufacture goods, rescue and tend colonists. So they're basically like bots. Like if you played with the RimWorld mod that gives you bots, that, you know, hauling bots, cleaning bots, etc. Some of them can do that. They don't get sick, they don't freeze, they don't get poison, toxic fallout, they don't have mental breaks. There are combat ones too. Some are cheap that overwhelm with numbers, and some have more damage. But the big downside to mechs, let's take a look at the photos here. So yeah, these are combat mechs doing lasers of some kind. That's cool. And what's this one? It's a shocked centipede on the ground, maybe? I'm not really sure what's going on in this photo. All right. The downside is that they have pollution. So there's toxic waste packs that deteriorate and then leak pollutants into the environment. Pollution makes living things sick, it poisons your colonists and pets, it blocks the sunlight, so basically bad. And getting rid of it is going to be a problem. You can freeze it, but that takes a lot of power. It takes a lot of power. If you're going to do the Mechanoids, having a base next to geothermal power vents is going to be critical to get this much power. You're gonna need a lot of power, is my guess, unless you want to export it, wouldn't make your neighbors mad. But it sounds like when you get to the high tech, this is why I say this part of it is really at the end of the game, in my opinion. We'll see if my opinion changes, but when you get to the high tech era, you can atomize them, apparently. All right, advance your Mechanider's capabilities by acquiring ancient mech technology. Now this sounds cool. There's probably going to be super rare items through quests that we have to get in, or no, actually, yeah, it's new quests. You have to fight a super mechanoid and defeat them and steal technology. This sounds fun. Honestly, I'm looking forward to this. I'm really looking forward to this. What are these photos of? Some more battle mechs going into battle, maybe. And what's this one? Oh, we already looked at this one. Neat. Did we look at this one? This looks like toxic air. All of this is all green. I wonder if this is toxic buildup. Also, look at the different stuff growing on the ground. It's like these must be the toxic plants. They say that in the toxin area, special plants grow. Cool. All right, gene modding. You can genetically modify people to create Xeno humans with exotic traits. Genetic modifications range from subtle personality traits and eye color to hulking furry bodies, glands for fire breathing, rapid regeneration, and even immortality. Ooh, that sounds cool. I bet that's expensive. The world contains a new set of xenohuman types and factions, including unstoppable super soldiers, fur-covered, animal-controlling Arctic settlers, toxic-immune human bioweapons, fire-breathing horned desert imp people, psychic-bonding concubines, and more. The darkest of them drink blood and live in shadows, deathless for eternity. Holy cow, dude. Alright, well, Tynan has changed the game a lot, clearly. What are we looking at here? Are these the people that live forever? They got horns. And some sort of regeneration capsules, maybe? Or is this... Oh, these are the vats to grow people. They're doing surgery to install a thing. I don't know what this is. What's this photo? Stub is on fire. They've got wacky looking ears. These people are stealing babies or carrying babies? No, these are the whoever made the screenshot, these are their characters. These are an enemy faction. But both have ears. Oh no, these guys have horns. Ah, okay. I get it now. There's also pigs in the freezer. Interesting. Okay. I'm just going to read this whole section here because this is so interesting. You can make your own xenotypes from scratch and build infrastructure in your colony to enhance your people. Curate a collection of exotic genes by purchasing them. You can buy them. Interesting. Accepting them as quest rewards, extracting them from your menagerie of xenohuman prisoners. You can harvest the genes from anyone and implant those genes into your colonists and prisoners. You can also recombine genes to make bizarre and advantageous mixes of traits for implantation. Experiment with gene extraction and recombination to build your colony. Dang. Well, this looks spooky. I can't wait to use this red carpeting. Red's my favorite color, so we're gonna use some red carpeting. I hope it's not flammable. It's gonna be flammable, isn't it? Oh, a new resource material though. Look, the steels and the artwork is red. There must be a new resource. Yeah, the shelves are red too. Okay, so maybe the red flooring isn't flammable. We've got cards also. Oh no, this is blood. We're looking at vampires here. They have blood that they drink. I don't know. I kind of want to do a vampire colony. That sounds fun, especially if they get this nice red mineral or whatever. Let's see if we can figure out what the red mineral is. I don't see any real resource stockpiles here. Not seeing any hints. Let's look at these people down here. Charlotte has green or blue skin. Perez here has some red hooded coat. Allie is in a coffin. So is Eleanor over here. Interesting. The vampires sound cool. Honestly, I kind of want to be... I hope you can start as a vampire race. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. I don't know how it'll work, but this just seems really cool. So what do we got here? This looks like a cave structure. Well, both of these do, but this one looks much more like caves. Somebody's bleeding. Why are they bleeding? I don't see anybody injured in this picture. Maybe they're vampires, they drop blood everywhere. Looks like, oh, maybe they harvested blood from Precious over here. Oh, look at this, look at the stacks. Look, there's 1,500 silver stacked here instead of only 500. Interesting. I wonder if Tynan is changing the way the tile economy works. What are they doing here in the center? They are all staring at a torch. Okay. This person has no eyes. Or they have weird looking eyes. This person has a tail. Okay. Oh, this person doesn't have any eyes either. Alright. Why biotech? Tynan says that he thought it would be worth explaining the thought process behind why we decided to make this expansion. I'm not going to read all of this. If you're interested and want to go through things that I've missed, all of these are available on Steam, and you can find them just by doing a quick Google search for RimWorld Biotech, and then the previews. If you search for previews, you can pull up all of these. So yeah, it looks like he talks through why he wants to do these things. Mechanoids have been RimWorld's endgame foes since 2014. However, they are human-created for human purposes. Interesting. So it's natural to extend this and allow the player to control the Mechanoids somehow. Since RimWorld is a character-oriented story generator, didn't want to just add the Mechanoids as independently controlled robots. That's fair. Designed a system for each Mechanoid is linked to a specific person. That's pretty cool. Don't want to destroy the economic balance. Human beings are inherently quite expensive. A colony of Mechanoids could skip most of these needs and be absurdly overpowered. Fun for a short time, but ultimately uninteresting. Yeah, that's fair. He's addressing, like, some people would say, well, why can't we be a Mechanoid? Why can't our faction be mechs? I think he's right that this would be fun for a short time, but ultimately uninteresting. I really trust his judgment here, and I think he's absolutely correct. One of the mods that I've actually been thinking of using for a RimWorld adventure is a Dalek fashion from Doctor Who faction. I think that would be great. They're probably just basically Mechanoids, since Daleks don't have feelings and such. But he's right that this would be fun for a short time, but it wouldn't really last. So he links the Mechanoids to humans, and he does the pollution. It interacts with the insects, generating. Okay, so the pollution generates bugs. There's not just infestations and deep drilling. You can also get bugs generated by pollution. So what this means is that other factions who are producing pollution, if you're close to another faction, or actually no, that's not what this means. Excuse me. What this means is that there's going to be a new off-map problem causer type, which is pollution. And, you know, just like toxic fallout, but worse, you know? Okay. Player-controlled mechanoids were going to open up new ways to do combat. In the past, the players' units were limited in how diverse they could be since they were mostly humans. Mechanoids can, however, have much more exotic types of movement, weaponry, and combat tools, so this is going to be neat, but kind of endgame in my opinion. Why reproduction? The core design goal is to generate emotionally compelling human stories. This is important to emphasize. I think a lot of people miss this about this game. This game is not about winning or losing. This is about telling stories. The core design goal of the game is to generate emotionally compelling stories. And this is one of the reasons why I love this game so much, is because I want to tell those stories, those emotionally compelling stories, for other people to experience. You know, I think it's interesting to be a part of that story and to also watch that story. I enjoy watching people make these stories and see how creative other people can be with what they make happen in RimWorld. Anyway, this has always been a challenge when designing a game because games tend to be very impersonal. The problem is that a good story isn't just a sequence of changes. Good stories are about people, emotions, and relationships. So good stories take things that individual humans value and put these things up for grabs and let the characters struggle to gain them or avoid losing them. It makes a lot of sense to add family to a game that's at the core about emotionally compelling human stories. They're powerful because family is important to us. They're relatable because everyone has a family, so everyone can empathize with what it might be like to help a brother or parent, what it might be like to help a brother or parent have a child, help them, or fear losing them. This is of course obvious, and that's why other narrative media have explored this topic for thousands of years. Family-linked drama is the bread and butter of stories across older media, from the most classic novels of high culture to the bawdiest barroom takes. Questions of family obligations, sacrifice, life and death, and relationships are central to our most compelling stories. From "No, I am your father" to "I will find you and I will kill you," etc., etc. Yeah, he's right. Extending that into RimWorld makes obvious sense. You're correct. I agree. The concept behind children in RimWorld makes a lot of sense. I'm just nervous about what it will mean, how it will change the game. So we'll see. I think it'll be good, and they'll make adjustments if they have to. But this is probably where most of the gameplay changes are going to happen. Gene modding. Genetically modified xenohumans have always been a part of the fictional universe. They are RimWorld's way to explore how biological different humanoids might tell new stories or unlock new types of gameplay. With reproduction already being part of the expansion, it was natural to extend this into allowing genetic modification. Like everything else in RimWorld, gene modding is an inherently character-oriented system. Okay, so this is kind of like ideology. We're going to get to drive our own genes. It changes who people are and what they can do, which alters their relationships and the emotions that they will produce. A lot like ideology did. So it's the same kind of concept. Gene modding, I would look at gene modding the same way you look at ideology. You're developing your civilization's beliefs, and you're developing your civilization's characteristics. And all of those things together build a more compelling story. It changed. Yeah, I read that already. It even generates new moral choices as players decide what kind of modifications they are willing to apply to their people, their children, or their prisoners. It added more variation to the human world in the form of different types of factions instead of just different humanoid factions with different diplomatic orientations. Now those different factions are dominated by different types of xenohumans. This alters how they fight, which makes combat more distinct. This makes me nervous a little bit, because I'm used to the way the enemies attack you in RimWorld. Changing that will be hard. But they added breach raids with ideology, so... oh well. Fighting a raid of furred Epocriton warriors is quite different from a raid of baseliner humans or Neanderthals or fire-breathing impids or pigskins. There's a lot of fun, colorful differences between them too. A raid of squealing pig people feels quite different from a raid of bear-calling furred Epocriton. Alright. Great. We experiment with a lot of gene effects before settling on a set that is diverse and consistently fun to play without breaking the game. It took a while, but in the end, the testers are loving it. Okay, so this tells me that they're going to adjust this over time. Gene modding, the way it works, is going to continue to get tweaked throughout the probably next few months until they really settle it out. but this means that this is still a work in progress. He's not saying it, and I'm confident that it's very well done, but I bet there'll be tweaks. Also, apparently there's a new name generator for the Xeno-human factions, especially the pig skins. All right, I want a Xeno-human faction called the Lubricants. We'll just slide right into battle. All right, update 1.4. This is the free update, so even if you're not planning on buying the Biotech expansion, which coincidentally will be $25, not 20. Update 1.4 will be free regardless, if you already own the base game, of course. The base game, I think it's like $20 or something along those lines. Anyway, update 1.4 is available now on the unstable branch to give modders time to update before the 21st. If you'd like to try it, you can do this. We spent months optimizing launch and game loading times. Painting and color customization, they've added. Styles always available. You can now use all styles of all buildings and visually customize your colony even without ideology active. That's cool, but this changes the way ideology works, so I'm not sure what this will mean. Actually useful shelves that store lots of stuff. Fill your storerooms with shelves which can now hold up to 3 stacks. Okay, so he is changing the tile economy. Our testers were very excited. There's also a 1-tile mini shelf. Finally. Look, Tynan is adding a shelf. He's adding a shelf. A 1-tile shelf. This is the best part of this update. Just kidding, but this is great. I hate that there was no 1-tile shelf. All right, let's look at their photos here. Did I miss any photos? No, we looked at those. Okay. Let's take a look at this. This is a 1.4 photo with the better shelving. They're doing poker. They're doing pool. They're harvesting a lot of Tinctoria. Oh, so they can change stuff, I assume. How do these people live? What are they eating? Are those... Is this a new type of vegetable? How do these people survive? Oh, I guess they eat meat, it looks like. Anyway, changes to the tile economy is a big deal. What do we got here? Some sort of fire? Oh, there's a fire foam popper, I assume. I don't even know what's going on here. What is this square of flammable liquid, maybe? Is this a rocket? I think this is a rocket right here. Maybe? Is this a pirate attack or something? I'm not sure. All right, well, we'll figure out what this ends up being. Oh, this is a rocket swarm launcher. Yeah, okay, so this little rocket right here came from one of these, I assume. Interesting. All right. 2 new turret types. The foam turret spits fire foam to extinguish nearby blazes. The rocket swarm turret is a defensive launcher when triggered. It blankets a wide area in a barrage of small missiles. It's excellent against large groups of weaker enemies, but it only works when you press the button for extra drama. Great. Starting possessions. Depending on backstory, your starting colonists might come with their own possessions. Huh. Not only does it make it a bit easier to start with imperfect colonists, it also gives them a personal touch. I like this. This is cute. Rot stink. Keep rotten corpses and meat away from your colonists. In addition to being disturbing to look at, decomposing tissue now releases rot stink gas. Colonists that are chronically exposed to rot stink may develop new lung rot disease. Great. Keep extra empty graves and garbage dumps available for times when you're overwhelmed with bodies. Okay, so this means even if your colony has an ideology that makes them not care about corpses, you still have to keep them far away or your colony will get sick. That's an important distinction. More prisoners to trade, release, interact with. In addition to all the prisoners you got before, now you'll get a new class of prisoner who is unwaveringly loyal to their home. They can't be recruited, but they can be sold, sent home for diplomatic beliefs, used for gene extraction. We did it this way because we wanted to make all the uses of prisoners besides recruitment more viable. Adding a new stream of unwaveringly loyal prisoners does that without destroying the population progression. Okay, that's good. We can disable that if we want to, but I don't intend to. New mod manager. Managing your mods is really easy and smooth with the new UI tool. Mods are now visibly split. Yeah, great. That sounds good. New mod mismatch window sounds good. New options. We've organized the options menu. That's fine. There's a heat overlay. That's good. I'm glad that's in the base game. Quest search bar sounds good to me. Tile inspector shows you the details of a specific tile. Okay, so they added a new thing. New thing in the bottom right corner of your screen. Okay. All right, on to the next one. We're 25 minutes in, and I have 4 previews left to go. Okay. Biotech preview number 1. Mechanitor, infrastructure, and labor mechs. This is the first preview post, blah, blah, blah. Mechanitor gets a mech link. It's a new implant, and it allows them to direct the mechanoids. That's pretty straightforward. It looks like your Mechanitor must be capable of smithing work. So this will change how we choose starting colonists a bit. If we want to make use of this, we need to have somebody who's good at smithing, it sounds like. Maybe? Mechanoids aren't controlled independently, but through a human. This design intentionally keeps the mechanoid systems focused on a human. Yeah, we talked about that already. They can perform in both work and combat. Some mechs are workers that will politely harvest crops or haul items. Some can work or fight. Finally, there are a wide array of purely combat mechs with very diverse abilities. That sounds pretty cool. There are a few ways to become the Mechanitor. All involve looting technology from an ancient dead Mechanitor. If you can dig a data core out of an ancient ruined super mechanoid, this means that your map is going to start with a ancient ruined super mechanoid on it, kind of like your map is seeded with the animatry, the junk and stuff. You're also going to have this, that's my guess. You can use it to call an ancient Mechanitor's ship to land and harvest the mech link from his body. Alternatively, you might be able to learn about an ancient Mechanitor's command complex. So this is a quest. Penetrate inside and grab the mech link. You can also start the game with the new Mechanitor scenario. Oh, there's a new base scenario. You begin the game as a solitary Mechanitor with a mechanoid buddy. It's possible to do a single-person Mechanitor run where one mad scientist type lives alone in a grand base surrounded by walking, semi-thinking machines. Making this possible was a design goal from day one because exotic play paths are so fun to explore. However, we expect Mechanitors to mostly often live more normally among other colonists, commanding mechanoids to work and fight alongside human allies. If you really want to scale up, it is possible to collect multiple mech links and turn several colonists into Mechanitors, though this takes a long time. All our game mechanics interact freely. It's possible for your Mechanitor to also be a high noble, a religious prophet, and a deathless blood drinker, because why not? Great. I'm actually going to do something that I forgot to do, which was zoom in this text so it's easier for you to read. I apologize about that. At least I didn't forget till halfway through. All right. So this is cool. I'm definitely going to try out this solo Mechanitor run at some point. I'm really interested to see if this is viable on the higher difficulties, or if you just get overwhelmed with tribals and die. All our game mechanics interact freely. It's possible. Oh yeah, I talked about this already. So yeah, this is great. I think that making all of these go together is a great idea. Over time, they can grow a grand swarm. They do this by gaining more bandwidth. Bandwidth determines how many they can control. If a mech is left disconnected, it may reconnect with the wild mech hive and leave or attack. Great. Control groups are groups of mechs who can be controlled as a unit. A Mechanitor with more control groups can send mechanoids to do more separate tasks at the same time. So what this means is that if you want to send mechs off to deal with an off-map problem causer, you have to send this guy with them. Okay. Mechanoid challenges. A basic game design principle is to push things as far as they can go without breaking the game. That means make tools more powerful, enemies more dangerous, changes more overwhelming than seems safe at first. The idea is to ensure you're exploring the full range of experience that's possible in your game systems. So we want mechanoids to be very powerful in order to create more extreme situations. The more impact they have, the more they can transform your game. However, we need balance. So there's pollution, I think is what they're calling it. Existing costs in the game like food, chem fuel, and steel, but simply making mechanoids consume resources wouldn't feel transformative and wouldn't substantially alter gameplay, since mechanoids can pay for themselves by producing the resources they consume. The collect and spend loop is too simple, so we decided to emphasize 2 new challenges that would come with mechanoids: infrastructure and pollution. Alright, so infrastructure. We have to have these things, which are mech gestators. You can gestate stuff, and it takes ingredients. That sounds good. They require heavy infrastructure, takes a lot of space, and burns a lot of electricity. So, like I said, you're gonna want to be next to a lot of power. Big sections of your colony can turn into mechanoid maintenance, production, and control centers. You'll feel your plucky wooden village transforming into a grand integrated machine. All right, this makes me nervous because this is a lot of wealth. Having lots of space to control, lots of buildings is a lot of wealth. Your base will tend to grow large. That's a lot of wealth. This is going to be hard to do. I bet that playing at higher difficulties, it'll be hard to do this until you've already basically built up a strong enough colony on its own. Each mechanoid must contain a mech brain, known as a subcore. Basic level subcores can be produced with just some resources and time at the subcore encoder. Alright. Subcore soft scanner. Basically has different parts, it looks like, so you have to craft them in certain ways. Band nodes, mech boosters. I'll figure out all of this in the game. Labor mechs. Alright, so this is a specific class. Wait, they didn't talk about pollution. I want to talk about pollution next. It looks like they're not gonna. Maybe in another preview? Combat. Okay, yeah, we'll talk about it later then. Alright, labor mechs. Labor mechs can perform a variety of work tasks, but not absolutely everything. Some things still need a human touch. Some are plucky little worker boys. Worker boys? Bots? Okay. While others are hulking crusher machines that tank damage with ease. Alright. Paramedic mechs are designed to aid in emergency situations. Lifters are haulers, constructoids, agri-hands. All this is pretty straightforward. If you've ever played with the mod Robots plus or something like that, this sounds pretty similar to that. I'm sure it's more complicated, but close enough. Clean sweepers, fabricators, tunnelers. Yeah, so there's specific class working bots. Tunnelers are massively heavily armored mechs equipped with gigantic crusher claws. They can dig tunnels and mine resources. It's slow in combat, but its very strong armor makes it a good tank. So you can send it in to die, basically. Tank the shots while you focus fire. I could see that being useful. Tunneler has a small built-in smoke pop pack, which can activate to spread smoke and shield itself from incoming fire. It also has a shield pack that recharges over time. All of these are going to have different unique things. What does the photo show us here? Mining, crafting, cleaning. Yeah, this seems pretty straightforward. Alright, preview number 2. Combat mechanoids, pollution, and super mechanoid bosses. Beautiful polluted wastelands and 3 super mechanoids to fight for fun and profit. Alright, this one's written by Will instead of Tynan. Look at combat mechanoids. Yeah. Mechanoid commanders. Biotech introduces 3 new commander mechanoids to fight. This sounds hard. Defeat these super deadly enemies and harvest special mechanoid chips from their smoking husks to advance your mechanoid technology. You can provoke super mechs into attacking your colony by using signaler devices. Okay, so you can call them to you. That's good. So it sounds like you could basically use your kill box on the super mechs, which, if true, is kind of overpowered. I guess we'll find out. Also, whatever this green-blue wall is here is on fire. It must be a painted steel wall. Interesting. Each mech commander drops a different mech chip. The first time you acquire each type, you'll unlock a new tier of mechanoid research. Mechanoid chips are also used as resource to provide top-tier mechanoids and mechanitor. Oops, sorry, that was me. I don't know what that was, but that was me. Mechanoid chips are also used as resources to produce top-tier mechanoids and mechanitor upgrades. With enough chips, you can power up your humble mechanitor into an unstoppable mech lord. This must be the mech lord here, maybe? Is this a person, or is this a lancer? You can give names to your mech. Yeah, you can give names to your mechs. Bumblebee, Sharky. Neat. So this must be the super mechanoid that you can fight. Alright, I'm on board with that. We create the super mechanoid enemies to add meaningful milestones to mech progression. So these guys are gonna be taking the place of the relic quests, maybe, where I bet these won't be that hard. If they make these too hard, then you won't be able to do it at an earlier stage in the game. So their goal, I'm sure, is going to be to make most of this accessible relatively early on, even though my suspicion is that the better choice is to wait and to not get into this until later on in your playthrough. I could be wrong, though. I guess we'll find out. Maybe there's some super poweredness to this, which we learned with that solo Mechanitor run. All right. Meaningful milestones. Yeah. You'll be able to fight Mechanoid commanders at your own speed. Unlike other challenges that scale, super Mechanoid enemies scale with the number of times you call them. Ah. Okay, so this is how it differs. It doesn't scale with wealth. It scales with the number of times you call them. So you definitely, the sooner you call them, if you win, the better. If you call the super Mechanoid to when you're not strong enough and you lose, it'll be stronger the next time. I think it's probably better to prepare your colony instead of take them on early. But I don't know. I don't know how this balance will work out. Super Mechanoids come with escort mechs and all other types to add combat power. Commanders bring a new escort every time they are called and require a different tactical approach from each engagement. We designed them to be as distinct from each other as possible, so each group is a new challenge. Cool. I'm looking forward to that. This goes into all of them. So this one is Diabolus, an ultra-heavy mechanoid with high-energy helisphere cannon. That's what this is here. It's not very big. Made for siege breaking, its hellsphere canyon takes time to charge up a shot, but can melt concrete and vaporize bone. Pretty cool. The War Queen, a terrifying mech with built-in mech gestator. The War Queen can gestate small war urchin combat mechs inside its massive carapace and deploy them into combat. Given time to build on numbers, a War Queen can overwhelm any opponent with dozens of war urchins. Okay, so you call this one, you have to do it fast. This one is going to be a lot of fire. Epocriton. The mysterious Epocriton is an intelligent commander mechanoid and psychic warrior that harbors endless hatred for humanity. Not much is known about it except that its psychic powers poison the mind with rage. Its weapon is hatred. Okay, so this is a mental bot. This will be annoying. Combat mechs. Crush enemies and raiders with your own mech army. Biotech lets you control hordes of killer mechs all connected to your Mechanitor Overseer. Even death won't stop them. You can resurrect your destroyed mechs in gestator tanks. However, protecting your very mortal Mechanitor is crucial. Makes sense. Combat mechanoids include... Let's see what we got here. These guys... So this one looks like they have a shotgun. This one is fire. This one has a shield. Oh, that'll be good. A shield bot. Militor, the cannon fodder of any sizable mech army. These small combat mechs are armed with a low-power mini shotgun. I bet that these will be not very strong. Kind of like turrets are very weak. These are going to be pretty weak too, I bet. They are cheap to gestate and maintain. Scorcher, a close-approach war mechanoid that specializes in incendiary attacks. Its Flame Burst has little reach, but once it does, it closes on defenders. It can ignite and disrupt them. Unless you're using mechs against mechs, this wouldn't work. Scorchers quickly turn firefights into firefights. These mechanoids start wildfires with ease and are especially effective against large groups of attackers. Legionary, a combat support mechanoid with wide-range bullet shield and long-range needle gun. Yeah, this is great. This guy, this Legionary, whatever, I'm excited about that. I think this will be really good. However, Legionaries are weak to melee attackers, and their shield can be quickly broken with EMP. Makes sense. Tesseron, a medium-range combat mechanoid with a powerful sweeping beam grazer attack. That sounds scary. It's a gamma-ray laser powerful enough to ignite its targets and can even pass through shields. Oh, no. This lets Tesserons strike multiple foes from a safe distance and breach shielded enemies. However, Tesserons are unable to focus, making them susceptible to fast-moving melee opponents. Centurion, a nearly unstoppable ultra-heavy mech with a built-in shield bubble generator and a point defense bulb turret, capable of firing even when the Mechanoid is moving. Interesting. So this does fancy things. In addition, you'll be able to control the classic mechs. With the right technology, you can even create your own super mechanoids. You can create the super ones. That's cool. We had two main goals. First, we wanted to create more diversity. Second, we didn't want to entirely remove the human element from combat. All right. Mechanoid colors and names. Style your mechanoids with dozens of different colors to give them a personalized look and distinguish them from enemy units. Yep, we already saw that we can rename them. Green, pink, pink. No colors here. This one looks no colored. Upgrades. By unlocking more powerful mechanoid technology, you'll gain access to a wide variety of mechanical upgrades. There's a control sublink, remote repair, remote shielder. So these are just cool things that add flavor to it. That sounds fun. There's a ton of room for progression to make an extremely powerful Mechanitor. However, all power comes at a cost. A high-level Mechanitor upgrades can only be made using high-tech chips obtained from defeating super mechanoids. Okay, so to level up your super mech controller dude, you have to defeat lots of super mechanoids. So it's going to get harder and harder and harder, and you have to do it over and over and over again. Good to know. So when you're ready, when Cassandra is on cooldown, for example, you can call in the super mechs to fight them. Or if you're playing on Randy, you just call him in and, you know, you say, good luck. Hope Randy doesn't throw something at you in the middle of your fight. Alright, pollution. This makes me nervous because I'm not sure how it's going to be implemented. I guess we'll find out. Creating and recharging creates toxic waste. Unless frozen, these packs of toxic waste will eventually deteriorate, so you need more power. More power, more power, more power. Unlimited power. That's what this expansion is about. Need more power. If you want to do anything with the Mechanitors and the mechs, you need a lot of power. I wonder if they're changing it. I wonder if they're adding more ways to make power to the game. I hope so, because the base game options are not sufficient, in my opinion. While Mechanoids are immune to pollution, your colonists aren't. They affect the planet at a larger scale. The more polluted an area, the more it affects the surrounding world. Great. Managing pollution. There's no shortage of tools to deal with or even embrace pollution. Wearing anti-pollution gear reduces your colonist exposure. Transplanting artificial detoxifier organs makes your colonists immune. There's even pollution-related genetic modifications. Great. What can we do? You can freeze it. You can freeze the waste. You can export the waste. Use caravans or transfer pods to dump your waste packs on the world map. Transport pods to dump your waste packs. This sounds good. I'm going to do this. Extra fun, you can even leave them as a gift in your enemies' bases. Pollux. Heavily polluted maps may eventually sprout special Pollux trees. These trees slowly purify polluted terrain around them. Their delicate root network prevents them from being replanted. Huh. Atomize them. High-tech waste pack atomizers let you completely neutralize it. It's slow and expensive, but this is a late game thing. Or ignore them. Polluting the land does have some benefits. Polluted land can grow new crops like the fast-growing toxapotato. Just don't eat it raw. Great, thanks. Pollution can also attract new animal variants like toxalopes and waste rats. All right, so this means that we're going to have to... There's risks to eating raw food beyond food poisoning now. So I hope that the base game settings make it so that toxic potato is unchecked, even if raw food is checked in a food thing. All right. Giant insects love pollutions. It looks like they haven't changed the bugs at all. There's still just the 3 types of bugs. What is clicked on here? I can't see it. They might have changed the way bug hives look, though. Originally engineered as anti-mech bioweapons, these insects are stimulated by the toxic fumes of polluted terrain, making them faster and deadlier. When conditions are inhospitable, insects form stasis cocoons. Oh, that's what that is. And burrow underground. These cocoons keep insects safe. Many planets are littered with these cocoons lying just below the surface. The scent of a dissolving waste pack can trigger the cocoons to resurface. So basically, you can have infestations everywhere if you have pollution. Great. Cocoon infestations are threatening but have their uses. They can be intentionally triggered to farm insect meat or be set up defensively in strategic locations. Stop raiders in their tracks with a horde of angry insects. You can also avoid cocoons with strict waste pack management. Toxic gas is deadly. It burns the lungs. It can be created by burning toxic waste packs or weaponizing with a new research project. Or weaponized. Toxic gas packs. Okay, so there's new toxic IEDs and stuff like that. That's cool. So you can launch toxic shells at your enemies. Toxic gas adds a lot of interesting combat tactics. You'll also need to learn how to defend against it. Great. It's a signature weapon of one of our new factions. So we're going to have to be ready to defend against toxic gas attacks. Alright, preview number 3. That's big enough. Whoops. Biotech preview number 3. Reproduction, children, genetic modification, and release date. Release is October 21st. Natural and artificial reproduction. Biotech lets you have children and raise a family. Children end up in your life in many ways. Colonists could give birth or use a surrogate mother, take in a band of orphans, and even gestate embryos in machines. Alright, so there's going to be a nursery. Cool. Pregnancy can occur through natural means or advanced fertility procedures. You can let your colonist relationship develop organically or play matchmaker with new romance options. Interesting. Browse your colonist's romantic interests and encourage them to make a move on a potential sweetheart. Hopefully they share some kind of chemistry or someone will be brutally rejected. We sped up pregnancy to last only 18 days? I guess that's okay. Given the short-lived nature of many colonies, take care of mom. Prepare for your little one before labor begins. Birth is difficult and dangerous. You'd be smart to have a good, clean birthing room with supportive family members and a skilled doctor nearby. Complicated births can be turned off. Well, that sounds... I'll leave it on, but you can turn it off if this is too much. Taking care of babies. A baby's life is simple. Eat, sleep, play. Newborns won't move on their own and rely on adults to feed and protect them. Colonists assigned to child care will be responsible for all the babysitting. So there's a social aspect here. Keep your baby's tummies full with lots of good eats. They can't stomach complex foods, so you have to have a mom for breastfeeding or cook mushy, gooey baby food. Adults will not like it. In a pinch, insect jelly and animal milk do a great job of keeping babies full. So it feels like having cows is going to be pretty important. Everyone benefits from Playtime, having an adorable nursery brimming with choice chests and baby decorations that help fulfill the little one's play needs. Adults will play with the youngsters and carry them around. When it's nap time, babies sleep a lot better in a high-quality crib made from good materials. Great. So they need a high-quality crib. We're going to have to figure out what is the lowest wealth way to keep the youngsters happy. Do they say how long childhood lasts? At age 3, children will be walking, talking, getting in trouble. We adjusted the speed they grow so that you'll see the most important life moments in a single game. Those that prefer a more natural progression can adjust the speed in the storyteller settings. Children have a unique learning speed. Satisfying this need depends on what their current learning desires is. This sounds complicated. Like I said, I think this is going to be the hardest part of this, is managing all of this. Ages 7, 10, and 13, they reach developmental milestones letting you choose their traits and passions. Well, I hope everyone's going to be passionate about shooting. Unlock new work types. Children that spend more time fulfilling their learning needs have a greater variety of advantageous traits to pick from. Balance your children's work and leisure schedules with care. A rich childhood with lots of attention gives them better chances to be a capable adult, but doesn't guarantee anything. So there's some amount of RNG here. What's going on in this picture? Ooh, what's this? Is this baby food? This might be baby food. This person's cutting up a insect. Interesting. All right. Vat growing technology offers an alternative to long and burdensome human pregnancies. They accelerate development and sustain the embryo without subjecting a mother to the unpleasantness of pregnancy in 9 days. Wow. You can leave them in to keep them growing. Children grow significantly faster, however, they'll miss out on childhood and never pursue their learning desires, resulting in poorer choices of traits. So you can grow poor colonists quickly. Maybe grow poor colonists quickly and then sacrifice them is a good strat. Growth fats are excellent tools for churning out soldiers and simple workers, but require large amounts of nutrition. Without an adequate supply of nutrition, individuals in the vat will suffer from biostarvation. Alright, here's the big stuff. With Biotech, you can create your very own genetically engineered colonists known as xenohumans. You created xenohumans in gene packs, small capsules that you can purchase or extract. The process is not comfortable. The result is a gene pack containing a random assortment of the specimen's genes, basically. Using a gene assembler, you can recombine several gene packs together into an implantable organ called a xenogerm. Once implanted into human, they will immediately gain the traits associated with the xenogerm's contained genes. Don't want to wait. When starting a new game, you can select pre-made ones for your starting colonists or create your very own. Okay, so this is like ideology. You can start with a species, basically. We've also added a number of xenohuman factions. Genes. Fire spew, long jump legs, fur skin, smooth tail, strong stomach, psychic bonding, robust, never sleep, ageless, great shooting. Oh my. Psychite, addict, immune, and death rest. Some of these are better than others. Fire spew sounds dangerous. Long jump legs is like jump packs built in, maybe? Doesn't sound that useful. Fur skin, good for cold climates. So if you're going to go to boreal forest, this might be handy. But honestly, the cold climate isn't that hard to deal with. Unless they nerf that jacket type. What am I thinking of? I can't remember the name of it right now. Parkas. Unless they nerf parkas, this shouldn't be required. Smooth tail. Carriers of this gene grow a slender tail. It increases their manipulation, so this would be good for crafter, for example, but not that critical. Strong stomach. Carriers have an extra toxin filtering organ. Will never suffer from food poisoning. This could be useful. Unless it's just for food poisoning, in which case not that important. Psychic bonding. People with this gene bond with a single person for life, sharing a psychic bond. As long as they remain close to their mate, they will be happy. If their partner dies, it will be catastrophic. This seems not worth. Robust. Carriers take less injuries than others. For the same damage, they can stack with the tough trait. This seems good. Never sleep. I don't think that matters. Ageless. Carriers of this gene do not age biologically. That sounds good. No birthdays. No birthdays. So right now I like robust, I like ageless, and I like great shooting. Psychite, addict, immune. This could also be good. This means we could grow flake for selling. We can make a lot of money without having to worry about our colonists getting addicted to and destroying their kidneys. Death rest. Carriers of this gene must periodically regenerate themselves in a special coma. It takes days, but can confer substantial bonuses with the right infrastructure. This is a big question mark. I don't know what this will look like. All right. Genes come in two distinct... Oh, there's more. Okay. 200 genes. All right. Well, I know which three I care about. Robust, ageless, and great shooting all sound great. Genes come in two distinct flavors, germline genes and xenogenes. Germline genes are present in every cell of the host body and are able to be passed on to children. Xenogenes are technologically implanted. Okay, so some genes go through the genetic structure down to children. So you can start with, like, if ageless here, which I don't think it is, if ageless is a germline gene, then you can start your starting colonists with this ageless trait and then breed them a lot, and you can have a bunch of people that'll never age. I don't think they'll do that, though. I think the best ones will all be technologically implanted, so you can't pass them on. So this means that having babies, not that important. The best stuff, which I'm sure will cost a lot, the best stuff will all be implants, I guess. There's a lot going on in this picture, but this is the screen you'll have to start with. Huh. Alright. You'll need to pick genes carefully. Powerful genes will decrease a person's metabolic efficiency, making them need more food. Ah, they need to eat more. Genes with drawbacks will increase a person's metabolic efficiency. Ah, okay, so they eat less food if they have bad genes. Alright. Creating a functioning xenotype is a thoughtful balancing act of picking the right strengths and weaknesses. Alright, so I think, okay, I predict that the right strat is to get lots of food, grow a lot of food. These people are going to love rice. We're going to get hydroponics, we're going to use even more power, and we're going to give everybody great genes. And we're not going to balance it because we're just going to overcome the balance with the food. That's my theory. Create a muscular cave dweller who's afraid of the sun, or a sleepless genius who needs smoke leaf to survive. Alright then. The most powerful genes require archite capsules, a small containers of microscopic machines produced by super-intelligent architects. These devices are capable of enabling genes with physical and psychic feats which would otherwise be impossible. How do we get them? How do we get these? Doesn't tell us. I guess we'll find out. Preview number 4. Xenotypes, World Factions, and the Dark Blood Drinkers. These are the guys I'm interested in. I want to try these guys out. Alright, tying in here with our final Biotech preview. We're releasing on Friday. Version 1.4 is on the unstable branch. Yeah. As you've seen before, it lets you create your own kind of xenohumans by mixing and matching genes. This isn't just a player tool. Xenohumans are part of the universe. We designed the xenohuman types to emerge naturally, play distinctly from each other, and enrich the game as foes, prisoners, gene farms, allies, and colonists. Embedding xenohumans into the world helps the game in a lot of ways. It lets players experience the new gene-linked abilities both as player tools and as enemy threats. NPC xenohumans are a way for you to access many genes by capturing a foe and placing them in a gene extractor. Seeing other xenohumans helps show the player the kinds of things that are possible with their own genetic experiments. Also, the xenohuman types work as a scaffolding for more content, like the sanguophage's special secret quests. Alright. Xenohumans make the human world more diverse. Sounds good to me. Pig skins. Pig skins are human-pig hybrids, but which also retain pig-like quantities. So these are like tribals, except biologically engineered tribals. Okay. Impids, made for desert life. Impid cultures live on many RimWorlds and dry death worlds. They're extremely fast. They tolerate high temps, can spew fire, though they are masters of the sand. They struggle in other environments. They're terrible with farming. They fight well at range, but in close combat, their physical weakness become apparent. Outlanders call them dust runners because of their speed over terrain and resistance to heat. Some tribes call them devils because of their horns and because they burn their enemies. The Savage Imp tribe has no intention of coexisting peacefully with anyone. Their warriors are experts. Having been on the planet for thousands of years, the origin of this tribe are lost in myth. Alright. Yetatkin. Yetatkin. Oh. Itakin. Thank you for that. Descended from colonists engineers to thrive on ultra-cold planets. Alright. Their great size and fur make them handy in frozen environments. They migrated off their birth world. Blah, 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 blah. The Itakin pirates choose to be isolated, and they refuse to deal with outsiders, quick to call animal warriors against anyone who threatens or disrespects them. Underestimating their wild animal companions would be a mistake. However, a captured and recruited one can be a strong ally. Neanderthals. Neanderthals are stocky, powerfully built humanoids. The fierce Neanderthal tribe lives in the deep wilderness. They are open to peaceful trade, but are otherwise unfriendly and territorial. Warriors from their tribe won't hesitate to bash in the skulls of anyone they seem dangerous. Their numbers and the extreme amounts of damage they absorb before falling make them serious foes. Interesting. Dirt moles. With gray skin adapted to artificial light, dirt moles thrive in cramped and dark spaces where combat and travel happen over short distances. They are extremely capable at digging or mining. In the open, however, they suffer from sensitivity to light. Huh. This is not a new tribe type. Look, this fierce Neanderthal tribe is a new faction. Dirt moles don't appear to be. Genies. Maybe this is a different type of event. Maybe the dirt moles is an event rather than a faction. Same with genies and the other ones down here. Genies, designed to be engineers. Alright, so you want to recruit one of these guys for your crafting. Hussars are warriors. High mates. Empathetic and effortlessly beautiful, these designed companions and concubines have the unique ability to psychically bond with a mate. In certain contexts, they seem to be perfect, however, they are also inept at manual tasks. This seems like it could be useful, I don't know how. Wasters. Wasters are gaunt-faced, gray-skinned, aggressive, immune to toxic pollution, almost impervious to disease. The faction of Waster pirates are a diverse collection of violent Xeno-humans. They are mostly Wasters with a smattering of other ones. Okay. They'll always be a threat. Sangophages. These are the good guys, or not the good guys. These are the cool guys. Sangophages pass among other xenotypes undetected while concealing superhuman powers and working to satiate their genetic need for human blood. They are subjects of wild stories and children's nightmares, and their very existence is debated. They do not reveal themselves without good reason. Powered by archites, the unique micro-machines created by Architect Superintelligence, Sangophages' abilities go far beyond normal genetic enhancements. They are mentally adept across domains and preternaturally beautiful. In combat, they can launch deadly spines and heal injured friends. They don't age or die naturally and never suffer from disease or poison. They can make a new Sangophage by re-implanting their own xenomorph into a person. Wow. The price of all of this is the endless red thirst. They must regularly consume blood. They are easily destroyed by fire and slowed down by UV light. They must also go into death rest every now and then, where they enter a dormant state for several days in the darkness to regenerate their powers. This process of death rest can be enhanced. That's what this photo is. We saw this photo earlier. So this is death rest being enhanced by these machines. The Death Rest casket is an enclosed med casket that accelerates the process. It can connect to other devices, blood refining pump. This makes them need less blood. This makes them move faster. This makes their psychic abilities higher. And this makes it take less time to do the Death Rest. There's a secret faction. Every now and then you may get an opportunity to perform a service for them by giving protection, secrecy, or salvation. If you succeed, one of them may offer you the dark gift of immortality. Alternatively, if a Sangophage can be disabled and captured, then a new one can be made against the Blood Drinker's will. Huh. So you can capture one and then apply them to your own colonists. This is cool. I'm not going to read the lore. If you want to engineer your own xenotype with Sangophage-like powers, you can find copies of their superhuman genes via quests and trade. However, many of them require a unique resource called archites. Archites are rare but can be found via quests, trade, and other special means. Okay, so these are going to be very good. If you want to do the biotech stuff, the good, powerful stuff, you need these. Getting these means we're going to be doing a lot of quests. We're going to need to do a lot of trading, and other special means mean, I don't know. It is possible to be a Sangophage and another xenotype at the same time. Huh. You can start the game as a Sangophage with a single human servant if you want to build your own Blood Harvest Empire. We made sure to design all the character-oriented enhancements so that they can be used freely in any combination. We are very much looking forward to the stories of people making their favorite colonists into a royal, a psycaster, a priest, a mechanitor, a unique xenotype, and a Sangophage all at once. Okay. The last bit here is about the price. It'll be $25 instead of $20 for Biotech. They explain it here, but basically it took them a lot of resources to make this expansion, so it's going to cost more. If you need more explanation, come read it yourself. All right, so overall, I'm very excited about this. Scroll back up to the top here. So the biggest change to the game is the gene modding. The biggest change to the game, like the base relationships in the game, what you need to have is the babies and children. You can't avoid babies and children, or maybe you can. You have to choose for controlling the mechanoids, and you choose for the gene modding. You don't really choose as much for babies and children, although they have that built in. You can do it by artificial means. So I see a lot of power needed to do these things, and I see a lot of wealth needed to do these things. So the higher difficulty, the harder this is going to be. I am almost certainly going to start on losing is fun. I'm not going to try to play the game harder than that. We'll see. I want to play without pause also. I'd like to use the no pause mod, but I think that to learn this expansion, I'm going to have to play without it. Maybe I'll decide to do it anyway. It'll be good practice. So there'll be a lot of downtime. Anyway, I haven't decided exactly how I'm going to go about this, but yeah, this is RimWorld Biotech. These are all four previews and the overall patch changes. So yeah, thanks friends for sticking along as I read through this and offer my thoughts, and I hope you're looking forward to this RimWorld expansion as much as I am. All right, thanks everybody. Have a great time. Take care.